The Dreamers, of course, are something on the order of 800,000 young people who were promised that if they came forward and made disclosures, their government would protect them. That's the basic promise that our government made. This is a significant moment in their lives and in the lives of the life of the nation as to whether or not we're going to keep what I would argue is a sacred promise to 800,000 young people. In my home state of Pennsylvania, at last count, thousands, as many as 5,900 approximately. In this case, we're talking about this issue because a promise was made, and then in the transition from one administration to the other, a different approach was taken. In September, President Trump decided to end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. This announcement required those whose DACA waivers would expire within 6 months to submit a renewal application in just 1 month. Not a lot of time to get that done. Unfortunately, many DACA recipients were unable to meet this short deadline, and others who managed to get their applications in time were still rejected due to postal delays, not because of something that young person did, but due to postal delays. While the administration has said that these individuals may be able to resubmit, many are immediately at risk of deportation. Just imagine that. In fact, it's impossible for me to imagine it, and maybe it's impossible for anyone in this building to imagine that you are an individual who came forward because of this program, because of a promise your government made to you that you would be protected if you came forward. You came forward after many years of living in this country, but many years wouldn't add up to a long life because these individuals are obviously very young. Some of them came when they were just a couple years old or a couple months old, and they know no other country. In fact, one individual that I met with around a big conference table of about 15 to 20 DACA recipients, she said to me in this meeting a couple of months ago, she said, the only country that I know doesn't want us. That was her assessment of what the ending of this program should mean to her. So that's what they're at risk of, not just at risk of some theoretical consequence, literally at risk of deportation after living here all these years and not knowing any other country because of their circumstances. It's estimated that 12,000 DACA recipients have already lost their protection. 12,000 young people. That number will grow to some 20,000 by March. Why would our country break a promise to 12,000 individuals, and then 20,000, and then potentially much, much higher numbers? So we can't wait one more day, in my judgment, to help these dreamers. Dreamers across Pennsylvania and the nation already are living in fear and feeling the consequences of this horrific decision. ICE, the Immigration Customs Enforcement, has already picked up a young dreamer whose DACA waiver had expired during a routine traffic stop. This dreamer had been waiting to reapply for protection after his initial application was rejected due to, I'll say it again, postal delays. While the administration has said that they would allow these applications that were rejected due to postal delays the chance to reapply, they've been silent. The administration's been silent on what these individuals should do in the interim. For many dreamers, this means that they must choose between risking deportation and continuing to work and provide for their children and their families, depending on the circumstance. These dreamers have done everything right, and their applications were rejected not due to any action they did not take. They were rejected for other reasons, to a failure of our government, and yet now they're paying the price. Risking ICE detention and deportation to countries within which they have never lived as adults is totally contrary to our values. Dreamers are young people who have lived in this country since they were children. They're law-abiding residents who have learned English, paid taxes, gone to school, secured jobs that support themselves and their families. This program has enabled almost 800,000 young people to grow and thrive in America. These impressive young people provide enormous contributions to our society, including paying an estimated $2 billion every year in state and local taxes. The economic loss to Pennsylvania is estimated to be in the hundreds of millions, to be exact, by one estimate, a $357.1 million loss to the state's GDP. How about the nation overall? By one estimate, if this were to go forward and these young people were to be deported in the numbers that some are talking about, it's a national number that is in the hundreds of billions of dollars. By one estimate, north of $400 billion. That's the impact. So we have to get this done, one way or the other. It would be a terrible failure of our government. Worse than that, it would be an insult to our country, and it would be breaking a sacred promise.